interrupt your news stations on WCET. This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow. The following message has been transmitted by request of the Alliance Police Department, the Federal Bureau Investigation, and the NTSB. At around 1:15 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, a runaway train with 4 Conrail locomotives and 92 hazardous material freight cars have lost control near the Batavia grade. At this time, a mandatory evacuation has been placed from Highway 61 on the New River Gorge to Crescent Springs, Kentucky. This includes the cities of Science Hill and Williamstown. Stay away from these areas. And stay tuned for further updates. Civil danger continues for the Alliance area. The following message has been transmitted by request of the Federal Bureau Investigation, the NTSB, and the Bureau for Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. A 9-class hazmat train was confirmed on the runaway 1912 bound for Hagerstown. Loads included but are not limited to are a 16-foot 32-pound warhead, uranium-238, uranium-235, nitrocellulose, calcium carbide, sodium chloride, potassium permanganate, propane gas, gasoline, red phosphorus, pesticides, nitric acid, dry ice, and concussion grenades. Anyone within a 80-mile radius is to evacuate to a fallout shelter. Stay tuned for later statements from NTSB officials. Shelter-in-place warning for Alliance, Ohio until further notice. The following message has been transmitted by request from the Federal Bureau Investigation and the NTSB. A mandatory evacuation has been placed for the states of Ohio, Kentucky, and Pennsylvania. The runaway train from Muncie, Indiana to Hagerstown is bound for a crash collision at Alliance. This freight train is confirmed to carry such a cargo, and all interstates connecting from Youngstown to Pittsburgh and from Louisville, Kentucky to St. Albans, West Virginia are all shut down for your own safety. Stay tuned for later statements from NTSB officials and for further updates. All residents who are being evacuated, please head to a fallout shelter now. Fallout is a product of nuclear attacks. For prolonged exposure will result in certain death. Fallout spreads 1 minute after impact. Bring food, water, medical supplies, and a FM and AM powered radio for your time in the shelter. Stay tuned for further updates on your radio dial for more information on evacuation procedures. The runaway is miles away from the crash site. All NEST and NTSB officials are being sent to the crash site once the derailment begins. Again, stay tuned for further updates. The freight train with Conrail 1912 leading is picking up deadly to fatal speeds. The train has lost control of its cargo and is heading for a crash near Alliance. This includes the Mahoning County limits of Youngstown and Austintown. Repeating again, the runaway train is heading for a collision in 33 minutes. Anyone in the area, please evacuate the area immediately. You are exposing yourself to fatal danger. The FBI and other agencies are en route for derailment scenario. Stay tuned for further updates. The train's speed is around 110 miles per hour. The train is nearing its plunge for disaster. Anyone in the Mahoning area limits, last warning, evacuate now. The train is 5 minutes away from disaster. The National Guard has opened fallout shelters for your own safety. Stay tuned for later statements on this frighteningly dangerous developing story. Stay tuned on your AM and FM radio dial for continuous updates in the shelter. Stay tuned for updates on your radio as the deadly situation develops. The train has fully derailed at Alliance. Repeating again, all fire rescue personnel with water are prohibited as calcium carbide reacts violently with H2O. Red sand will be your only chance of survival. Again, tune to your station serving your area for later statements on this developing story. Tune to 1240 FM on your radio dial for continuous updates on this dangerously developing story. Stay away from the areas connecting I-676 and I-95 west towards Hammond, Indiana, and the Ohio Turnpike connecting Newcastle, Pennsylvania, and Cumberland, Maryland. The NTSB has evacuated the crash site due to severe explosions. Some reported critical at over 3,000 feet. Repeating again, all NTSB personnel are advised to mandatorily evacuate the area. The warhead that was on the runaway has since been disarmed. However, the threat is far from over, as leaking uranium is detected. All residents are advised to remain in your shelters until an all-clear has been given by proper authorities. Stay tuned for later statements from the NEST on how they disarmed the warhead at the crash site. Stay tuned for further updates. This message has been transmitted by request of the United States government. This is not a test. At around 6:44 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 1 hour and 20 minutes after derailment, an explosion has rocked the area surrounding the Alliance and Youngstown limits. The uranium has ignited and radioactive fallout has been released. The National Guard and the Federal Emergency Management Agency along with NTSB operatives are cleaning and decontaminating the crash site. All personnel that are authorized must have military experience for this mission. Stay tuned for later statements by NTSB on this developing story. Telephone outage warning. The following message has been transmitted by request from the Mahoning County 911 Emergency Management. At around 7:11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, multiple 911 calls flooded the hotline and shut all computer systems down. Repairs are being made, but all 911 calls are halted for duration of this message. If you are needing critical attention, dial 0 for your operator. Again, all 911 lines are out of service until repairs are made. Do not leave your shelter as you're exposing yourself to fallout poisoning. Stay tuned for further updates. This just in, the emergency phone lines have been repaired. An investigation conducted earlier in this broadcast has been released. Lack of emergency braking power was confirmed as the culprit to this wreck. It was confirmed that 3 of the 4 crew members were killed from this derailment. The lone survivor is expected to make a full recovery at the intensive care unit. All clears have been given to anyone in a fallout shelter. We thank you for your cooperation during this emergency. We will return back to normal programming.